Well, g'day, NotJah Witness here, and are you prepared to watch a full takedown of your favourite fake doctor, Guyman? I sure am, but with all the weed that I smoke, there is no way in hell I could do it true justice. So, I asked a much smarter person than me, a teacher in fact, to go over one of Dr. Guyman's videos and grade it as if it were a school assessment. So, many thanks to XCLover666 for doing the vast majority of the intelligent work behind this video. The original will be linked below as always. Okay, time for your grading on your video, Dr. Guyman. Let's see, for one, how well you do. I'll be using the same standard for you as I do with all of my students, and I expect all of my students to pass.
We are now 3/4 into the semester, and our teachers are becoming crueler and crueler every week. Where'd my mustache go? Where is it?
Okay, several points here. First, that is 5% for an unsubstantiated claim. You do not explain how your teachers are getting crueler and crueler. My guess is it is the end of the year and you're just feeling pressured into all the final end of year work. As a teacher, I do not get crueler as the years go on. My workload that I assign my students stays the same. All my students know you have a mid-year project and a final year project. You are just feeling stressed about the final year projects as they all get put on you at the same time. If you had proper time management skills and read your rubrics, you would know all of this. See, teachers give you the rubrics for a reason so you know what they are going to teach. So you know you have end-of-year projects. Why are you surprised about all of this? Surely this is not what surprised you. You just right now need to focus on what you have left to do and find a schedule that works. I'm sure your school counsellor, a teacher, librarian, and even your pastor, minister, or whatever title they hold would be willing to help you make a schedule. As I can tell you, your teacher does not want you to fail. See, we teachers pride ourselves on our students' success, as a lot of times our students' success is what determines if we keep our jobs or not. Second, cut the part with the mustache falling off, the glasses out. It is very unprofessional and does not look well. I'm not deducting points, just giving you a tip for the future.
Hold on, let me fix this. Okay. Give me a second. Alright. As I was saying, we are 3/4 into the semester, and our teachers are becoming crueler and crueler every week. And now, 2 weeks before the EOC, they're asking us why we don't care anymore.
Next, you mentioned the EOC. I must ask, is that the Educational Opportunity Centres? Just a quick tip, you should clarify what something is before using the abbreviation, as things can have a different meaning to someone if they are not sure what you're talking about. EOC could be the Emergency Operations Centre. So 5% for improper word use by failing to define terms. You know what? How about another 10% just to be cruel? No, okay, sorry, never mind. Just the 5% for improper word use, as I hold to a strict principle of honesty. You are at 90%, a B. You now state that they are asking why you do not care. Well, that is 5% for an unsubstantiated claim. You show no evidence or even give a name or names. You're at 85%, or now a B-.
Excuse me, sir. We've worked harder than you all semester.
You worked harder than the teachers all semester. Well, let's see 5% for an unsubstantiated claim, 10% for a false equivocation fallacy, and 5% for the false and inaccurate information. Do you know how hard a teacher works? One, it is, I think, one of the most underappreciated jobs you can have. A lot of times, I do not get to bed until 10:30, and I'm up usually around 6, and that is spent grading papers, writing tests, doing research for my next lecture. You see, I like to throw in some interesting facts that are not in the next textbook to make history more fun and interesting. You need to learn what you're talking about before you say anything. That also does not include the time that I take to tutor students during the winter when I'm not coaching, to tutor during the summer, as you see us teachers do not have a summer break like you do. We are usually working somehow all year round as we do not get paid during the summer. So we have to find jobs during the summer, and yes, I have a secondary job during the summer as well as tutoring. Also, you have to spend your summer planning lectures and class activities during that summer as well. So please, tell me, how you work harder than us. You are now at 65%, that is a D-.
We did actual work. You just wrote on a board all day.
5% for a lie. You worked harder than the teachers, and the teacher just wrote on a board all day? Dr. Guyman, please do me a favor and don't become a teacher. You are in way over your head, as you do not know what you're even talking about. Teaching is not something you can just do. You have to actually work at it. Saying all we do is write on a board is like saying all you do is sit there on your backside in your classes. You have no idea the work, the time and the effort it takes to put into being a teacher. You know nothing about what teachers do or the time we dedicate to our students, both in class time as well as outside of class time. So you're at 60%. You have now officially failed this response video with an F.
We sacrificed our sports games, dates, and even our religious practices to finish the assignments you gave us.
Okay, you sacrifice your sports games, your dates, and religious practices. Well, I can tell you right now that this is another unsubstantiated claim, 5%. I could take another 5% for producing false and inaccurate information, but I will not, as I don't want you to think I'm being that cruel. Just so you know, I am taking all 3 points as one whole claim instead of them all being individual claims. I just want you to get the best grade you can on this video, despite already having failed. First off, I will reference my point of time management, something you seem to have trouble with. Nothing wrong with that, you just need to work at it. I have many multi-sport athletes who I teach who do not have this problem. I have several students who I'll actually have a weekly meeting with to make sure they are staying on top of their work, because they, like you, lack time management skills. I stay in contact with their parents and let them know the schedule we worked out for their student. I have students who go on dates, and I have students who are religious and also go to work. They do not have this problem that you speak of. You just need to focus better and come up with a manageable time chart for your classes. If you are struggling, I'm sure the teachers would be more than glad to help you if you come in early before school or stay late after school. I'm in my room at 7:15 every morning, so students who need help can come to me before school starts. So you need to just calm the fuck down, take a breath. You're at 55%, by the way.
Don't you dare ask us why we don't care about your class just because you're too lazy to give us actual grades.
Okay, the nice XC lover is gone, and now you get the big bad mean XC lover, who will be a little harsher. You got me grading this part after a long day at school, and you calling teachers lazy? Well, that just crossed the line. Mind you, there has been 5 hours between this one and the last response that I typed you. First off, 10% for an insult with the lazy comment. You provide no evidence for this claim. Second 5% for an unsubstantiated claim for not providing evidence of your claim that teachers are lazy. Third 5% for presenting wrong and inaccurate information. This I can show as, unless you have a 0 in the grade book from no grades being put in, guess what? You've gotten grades, so the teachers are not too lazy to give you grades. So that this is a whole whopping 20% off for one claim. You're now at 35%. You're on thin ice with me here, so I'm going to admit I'll be more than happy to take points away for even the smallest thing.
You just sit there with your stamp and go a few A's, a few C's, F's everyone else.
So I just sit there with my stamp and give everyone F's and only a few A's. You're right on one thing, I only have 5 students out of about 120 with A's in my class. That is because if you get an A in my class, you earned it. So 5% for another unsubstantiated claim of we just don't care about your job or work with the whole giving people F's. Also 5% for presenting false and inaccurate information with your statement about just giving people Fs for no reason instead of giving the grade you earned. You're at 25% now with that 10% deduction.
Tom, I'm having a baby! Come to the hospital! I can't, girl, I have to finish my math test.
10% for a straw man. No teacher would dock you for a medical emergency such as someone having a baby. You're now at 15%.
And the teacher says, "Oh, I'm too lazy to grade this. How dare you have a social life outside my class? You get an F."
10% for another strawman. Teachers do not care about your social life. Again, with time management, you'd be fine. No teacher would ever make the statement, "How dare you have a social life outside of my class?" We know you have a social life, but again, you need to learn to manage your time. That is why my students can complete my work that I assign to them. You're now at 5%, mate.
Tom, I'm dying! I can't come, Grandma. I have to finish my science finals.
20%. Reuse of a strawman for a medical emergency. Again, no teacher would ever deny you a family emergency. Also, nice to know your name is Tom. If you want to hide who you are, don't use your name in your video. You're at 0%, but I'll keep the counter going to negative 15%. It's just as well you put me in a bad mood. You're now in the negatives.
And the teacher says, "I'm too lazy to grade this. How dare you have feelings? You get an F."
5% for presenting false and inaccurate information. Again, no teacher would say you cannot have feelings, and showing feelings you would get an F. You are now at negative 20%.
And you ask us why we don't care anymore?
Well, if that is your reason for not caring anymore, then you have some pretty bad reasons. Again, you probably are falling behind and need to manage your time better. I have asked students that, but that is only when they're falling behind, as I want to know what is going on to be able to help them succeed. See, when my students succeed, I am happy, as I can know I helped them grow as a person. Most of the time, it is usually time management. I know I struggled with time management when I was in high school. That is why I preach it, so to speak, now to my students, as I know if they don't manage their time, they will struggle, and in my class, that can sometimes mean failure. I'm hard on my students, but only so that they can be prepared for the real world, as there are bosses out there who, well, when they want something done, you best have it done when they want it, or you're gone, mate. My guess is that your teachers are just trying to teach you the same thing. I'm nice to my students, as the students that do not seem to like me tend to be the ones who don't tend to do their work, and I'm forced to fail them. As you turn in a late assignment, it is automatically 50% off, and then it is 25% per class it is late unless you have an external circumstances where you were not able to finish it, such as like a death in the family. So this is an unsubstantiated claim, 5% off. You are now at negative 25.
Let me tell you why. We stopped caring when you banned laughing in your class.
Banned laughing in class? What do you live in North Korea, Guyman? The only way a teacher would tell you to stop laughing is because you're being a distraction or disrupting class. You can laugh in that as long as you're not too loud during free time, or I am not lecturing. That is when you are banned from laughing, so to speak. It is because your actions are interfering with the other students' learning. So 5% for an unsubstantiated claim and another 5% for presenting false and inaccurate information. You're now at negative 35%, Guyman.
We stopped, and when you gave us detention for laughing.
They gave you a detention for laughing. Now that is another 5% for presenting false and inaccurate information again. So you only get a detention if it was being disruptive. My guess is the teacher told you to stop and you refused, and then you got a detention. You seem to have a hard time listening to teachers because you do not listen to me, and I've only been trying to help you. So yeah, negative 40%.
We stopped caring when you robbed us and told us that your class was more important than food and water.
Okay, where do we begin on this bold claim? Your teacher told you that their class was more important than food or water. Well, that is a 5% for an unsubstantiated, 5% for presenting false and inaccurate information, 10% for a straw man, as no teacher would ever make that argument. So you're now at negative 60%, mate.
We stopped caring when you silenced us and deducted points because we opened our mouths.
You know, Dr. Guyman, your points that you're complaining about are really showing me just what kind of student you are. You got points deducted for opening your mouth. Well, I will say that is probably partly true, but it is inaccurate. So sorry, I'll have to take 5% off for that too. You see, you got busted for talking out of line and without permission. See, I know how teaching works and can already see what you're doing in class with your failed attempts to make us teachers look bad. So you're now at 65% below zero.
We stopped caring when you gave us grades based on who was your favorite student rather than the validity of our answers.
Okay, let's break this one down. First off, let's take the deduction. 5% for an unsubstantiated claim, 5% for presenting false and inaccurate information, as well as 10% for the insult to teachers by saying they're unethical. My guess is based on your poor source citations and tendency to be wrong, your teachers gave you bad grades because you deserved those bad grades. I really think you are projecting your anger of me from grading your videos onto your teachers. If you have a problem with me calling you out, I can give you my email and you can email me personally, and I'll talk with you over that email. You should not project your hate of me onto your teachers. So that is also now projection fallacy, so another 10%. As it is funny how you do this video after I grade both of your videos. So that is a total of 30% deductions, so you are now at negative 95%.
We stopped caring when you wrote us up and sent us to the hall for no reason.
5% for an unsubstantiated claim. You were sent to the hall for probably being disruptive in class or backtalking the teacher. Again, you seem to have a lot of problems with that issue. So what, now negative 100% for you right now?
Teachers, the atrocities you've committed against us are inexcusable.
Another 5% for an unsubstantiated claim about the teachers committing atrocities against you. 5% for improper word use of the word atrocities. Also another 5% for presenting wrong and factual information as the teachers are persecuting you for doing their jobs. You're what makes being a teacher so hard. But lucky for me, I have great students who I care about and want to see succeed. They thankfully remind me every day I'm helping people. To see their eyes light up when they finally understand something that I was trying to teach them. Well, there is no greater feeling in the world than that. So I am lucky those students who make being a teacher all worthwhile outnumber students like you. So yeah, 15% total deductions, you are at negative 115.
Why don't we care? Why don't you care?
Why don't I care? Well, I do care. That is why I write these responses, as well as why NotJah Witness is reading them to you. I also care about my students who have told me that they want to get a degree in history to work at a museum because I taught her a new love for history that she didn't know. Yes, she was one of my A students who I brag about to the other teachers. So 5% for an unsubstantiated claim, 5% for presenting false and inaccurate information, and 20% for insulting teachers again for saying we do not care when we do very much. I bet your teachers are more than willing to help you, but you have to be willing to accept the help. So you're at a 30% deduction, so that is now negative 145%.
Why don't you help us pass your impossible class instead of scolding us 24/7?
5% for an unsubstantiated claim. The classes are not impossible to pass, as everybody else can pass them just fine. Also, 5% for presenting false and inaccurate information with scolding you 24/7. Again, you just need to ask for help and they will help you. Also, that includes listening to the help as well. So you're now at negative 155%.
Either do your job or leave us alone.
5% for presenting an inaccurate argument. Either do our jobs or leave you alone. Sorry, but your teachers do their jobs. You know, no one else ever seems to have these problems, it looks like. Did you ever think that the problem could be you and your attitude towards teachers? You know, if you do not want help, we can't help you. We can only help you as far as you're willing to let us. So you're now at negative 160%.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're in high school or college and your teacher harasses your whole class, join the Student Lives Matter movement and help us fight for students' equality and wipe these wicked teachers off the face of the earth and banish them back to the depths of the mighty hee-hees today.
Okay, just a heads up, a bit of advice. If you think your high school teachers are mean, wait till you get to college. You'll want to wipe out all teachers? Well, that right there could be taken as a threat. If your school ever found out about that threat, even in a joking manner, it could be grounds for suspension, expulsion, or even criminal investigations. So yeah, just think before you say anything like that, Guyman. You need to, again, learn source citing. Well, that was it. Thank you very much again for XC Lover 666 for helping me out with the writing of this takedown. Also, you know, thanks to Dr. Guyman for generally being pretty cool about my rebuttals of him. It really is honestly only so that we can see him improve. We, you know, like everybody, we want to see him learn. We don't want to see him continually making the same mistakes over and over again, and wondering why nothing is, you know, changing or getting better for him. You got to take on a bit of our advice if you want to improve, Dr. Guyman. Anyway, make sure to leave any of your thoughts in the comment section below. If you agree, disagree, or wish to correct me, feel free. Plus, if you have any other topics that you want me to cover or dig deep into, leave your suggestions down there too. I am on the Facebook and the Twitter machine at NotJah Witness. If you wanted to get in touch with me there, go for it. And if you would like to see more on the JWs or other religious beliefs as I do what I can to expose and refute them where I can, hit that like button and please subscribe. I truly appreciate it. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you very much for watching, and remember, I'm NotJah Witness.
All I wanna do is live.